Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. How's everybody doing this morning?
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Good
Doing
morning.
great.
Happy Saturday. Sunny
Woo.
Saturday for a change in Michigan.
It
Amen.
is sunny out there. It is sunny and it is crisp out there. So, what do they say about March? At least in Michigan, that phrase often uses it comes in like a lion, goes out like a lamb. Well, we got the lion part going pretty good here. So we'll see about the lamb part later this month. But we're going to jump right into things. We've got, as always, and I say this without even knowing really what lies ahead because it always plays out this way. I say we have an exciting program today on Voices of HealthPointe. And for those that are new, this is every Saturday morning from 8 a.m. to roughly 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. There's a chance for us to gather live here as kind of just a community of like-minded people and bounce around some topics and just have some fun together. Some are actually walking, some are not. So, but we do call it a walk and talk. And then for those that aren't able to get it live, there is the episode uploaded onto the Voices of HealthPointe YouTube channel. So on that programming note, we're going to get into just what some of our docket items are kind of kicking out of the gate here. And then again, we open it up to the roundtable and the fun part, really. So I'm going to open it up with a segment called the Truth About Supplements, Why Soil Health and Scientific Precision Matter. And then we're going to have David, and we were all giggling about this earlier, and it's just such a fun topic. He's going to talk about kind of 4 eclectic views and thoughts that have come from past episodes of this Voices of HealthPointe Walk and Talk. So that'll be fun. And then we're going to have perhaps Hank or Carol that's going to talk about some time-tested and true parts of this program. So with that, I'm going to jump right in and get my segment rolling here. So again, we're talking about the truth about supplements, why soil health and scientific precision matter. So walk into any store or browse online and you'll find hundreds, if not thousands, of so-called vitamin, mineral, and nutritional supplements. They are everywhere, from gas station shelves. We often joke about that, right? Don't buy sushi or supplements from gas stations. That's a good life rule. No sushi, no supplements from gas stations. But from gas station shelves to discount bins, from big box retailers to Amazon's endless listings. The reality, many of these products offer little more than a generic label, unverified ingredients, and zero transparency about where they come from, how they are made, or even whether they contain what's listed on the bottle. And some of you might be reflecting on about a decade old, I believe, I won't name the paper, but you can search it online where this is absolutely a fact, where they did a kind of a sting operation on several major suppliers and looked at their labels. And we learned that it was basically house plant and FICA material in there is what it was. Definitely not the ingredients that was on the label. But this is where the difference could not be more stark. As part of an entrepreneurial-led health and well-being company, we don't just sell supplements. We represent a company that is leading the way in producing scientifically formulated, organically cultivated, and meticulously tracked products that ensure unparalleled quality and efficacy. These supplements aren't just made to fill a shelf. They are designed to deliver real, measurable benefits with complete oversight from seed to supplement, or as we often say now, from soil to supplement. Unlike the vast majority of supplement brands, many of which source their ingredients from unknown, unverified suppliers, our commitment starts at the very root of nutrition, the soil itself. Most supplement companies buy their raw materials from third-party suppliers with little or no control over how these plants are grown. Pesticides, heavy metals, and soil degradation are often overlooked. We represent a company that grows and monitors many of its own plant ingredients using strict organic and sustainable farming practices that protect and enhance soil health rather than deplete it. Reduction of no synthetic pesticides, no herbicide contamination, just thriving, rich soil, carefully cultivated to preserve its microbial ecosystem. Why does this matter? Because nutrient-dense plants come from nutrient-rich soil. Advanced soil testing is conducted through spectroscopy, analysis, and biological profiling, measuring microbial activity and ensuring that the plants have access to optimal nutrient levels. When soil is alive with billions of microorganisms, plants absorb a full spectrum of vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients. But when soil is stripped and sterilized by harsh chemicals, plants lose their vitality, forcing many companies to rely almost totally on synthetic ingredients. For many supplement companies, traceability stops at the factory door. Ingredients come from brokers who buy from multiple farms and suppliers, often with little to no verification. Even third-party testing, when done at all, only ensures that the final product doesn't contain contaminants, not that it was ever nutritionally superior in the first place. The supplements we represent take an entirely different approach. From seed selection to final formulation, every step is tracked, monitored, and optimized for purity, potency, and effectiveness. These are some considerations for any type of supplement. Does every plant material meet strict organic and quality standards and undergo high-performance liquid chromatography testing to confirm nutrient concentration and purity? I know some of us that have toured facilities have seen this, some of this machinery, the result of these very expensive machines that can do this type of testing. How about no skipping of testing? Every soil sample, every batch, and every formulation is rigorously analyzed using mass spectrometry to detect heavy metals, pesticides, and contaminants, ensuring absolute safety and compliance with global regulatory standards. How about no guessing of efficacy? Products are developed based on science-backed research and bioavailability studies, ensuring that nutrients are delivered in forms that the body can actually absorb and use efficiently, right? We talk about bioavailability. What good does it do to take a supplement? Talk to plumbers out there. Don't want to get too visual with things here, but you talk to some plumbers out there and they will mention the supplements that they find in the pipes of many households. Why? Bioavailability, okay? Is the body actually absorbing and using it? That doesn't happen by accident. It takes precision and design and the science. Many brands rely on nature or science, but rarely both. Some tout, quote, natural ingredients while ignoring the fact that many essential vitamins and minerals are not found in high enough concentrations in plants alone. Others push synthetic formulas that lack the full spectrum of phytonutrients needed for optimal absorption. The supplements we represent take the best of both worlds approach. We often say the best of science, the best of nature. Vitamin C, for example, is sourced from acerola cherries at their peak nutrient levels, then complemented with purified ascorbic acid to deliver a science-backed effective dose. Cold processing techniques extract fragile plant compounds such as flavonoids and polyphenols, which are often destroyed in traditional supplement manufacturing. Encapsulation technologies like sustained release microbeadlet systems ensure that key nutrients are delivered slowly and steadily over time, enhancing absorption and preventing rapid depletion. As health and wellness coaches and facilitators within an entrepreneurial-led health and well-being company, we work directly with clients who trust us to provide the highest quality, most effective supplements possible. They're not looking for cheap, generic products with questionable origins. They want solutions backed by scientific rigor, sustainable farming, and real results. So when a client asks, can I just buy a supplement off of Amazon or at the gas station? The answer is simple. Not if they want real quality, not if they want real efficacy, not if they care about what's actually inside the bottle. The supplement industry is crowded with products that claim to support health but fail to deliver. What we represent is something entirely different, something few companies are even capable of offering. A supplement that is grown, tested, formulated, and produced with uncompromising excellence from the ground up. This is what sets us apart. This is why we do what we do. And this is why our clients trust us, not just as suppliers, but as partners in their long-term health and well-being. Okay, so that's my segment on a fun, slightly provocative topic about the truth about supplements. So with that, if anybody has any commentary or questions, we'll open it up. If not, we'll move along.
Eric, as I was listening to that marvelous article, it goes back to thinking of a holistic doctor that many of us are familiar with. And one of the statements that she's always made is, are you taking supplements just to take supplements? Or are you taking supplements to stay healthy? And I think that's a great question that ties right in with your article. The other thing that I'm glad you brought out in this article was the science and the natural aspect, the organic aspect of our supplements. And again, going back to the early days, we were always told that if you took one of our supplements with just organic matter, because in organic, there's so many other associated factors that go along with it, that it would be the size of a football. You were talking about footballs earlier. It'd be the size of a football and you couldn't consume it. Thus, science has to be added in there for increased potency. And then the third thing, as you were talking about the soil, it makes me think back of years ago when we went to the actual farms where many of the foods are grown for the supplements. The story has always been told right from very, very early days about the Egyptian earthworm and how they put these earthworms into the soil, and the earthworms travel up and down. They don't travel away. They travel up and down into the soil, down deep into the soil and go back up. And in doing that, they make their castings, they shed off their castings, which fertilizes that soil and makes it so rich and prolific. Oh, excuse me. I'm on the road here, excuse me. So it makes it so rich and prolific because of all of that natural ingredient that's been added in. So there's just so many little stories like that that have gone on from day one in Nutrilite to make all of this so effective. So anyway, just wanted to bring a couple of those points out because it's such a great article, and it really kind of made me go back and think of some of the stuff from years gone by. Back to you, Eric.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, some of those specifics, Egyptian earth worms, and there's some really great material online that's provided, some 2-3 minute YouTubes on these very things that you're speaking about, Carol, where they're tilling the soil, they're kind of rolling it with their hands, and you see these worms. Didn't know at that point that they were of Egyptian origin, but you see the worms in there, and that makes sense in terms of the specific species of worm and how it enhances probably the depth of that root and everything like that. But yeah, such great stuff. And also, what I'm hearing is you mentioned about Dr. Vicky, and are you taking a supplement just to kind of pacify yourself and say I'm taking a supplement, or maybe it's not even so much that, maybe it's just you just don't know. These types of things are learned. It's understandable. People are just blissfully unaware of things and they just take a supplement, but are you taking a supplement just to take a supplement and kind of pacify yourself, with that? Or are you taking a supplement to actually, get those key ingredients and nutrients in there? I love that. Good stuff.
I go back to that article years ago that Hank found by Dr. Sears, and it talked about how we have to eat 10 times more fruits and vegetables today than we did 50 years ago to get the exact same nutrients. Now, that article was written way back, so I can't even imagine today with the farming practices that we're facing, how much more you'd have to eat. And so when people say, I can get it in my foods, yes, you should, but you have to supplement because your foods just can't produce, first of all, what it produced years ago, and second of all, what our needs are today, because we live in a very, very stressful business at the speed of sound lifestyle. And so our nutritional needs are much greater than they were back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, when life was much calmer than it is today. So the needs are even greater. So I love that article, Eric. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. You're kind of pointing out not only, the supplement and what's in it on that end, but also our needs are different now than, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, a couple hundred years ago, in terms of just the pace, the constancy of stressors. And, stressors don't have to be a lion chasing you. Stressors can be just that chronic demand, you know, uh, of all different sources that we have now. I won't unpack that, but no, great point. Our needs are greater if we want to optimize our health, and that's what we're talking about here. Is working to optimize our health, not just meet minimum thresholds of deficiency, but rather to optimize our health, do everything that we can to optimize our health. So no, I love that.
The other thing we have taken it into consideration is age factor, because as we move on, Hank and I have been supplementing for years. What we found was over the years, we've had to increase because the body does not produce like it did when we were 20 or 30 years old. And every 7 to 10 years, our body takes on a completely different blood change, and our needs are different. Our bodies produce less of certain things. A great example is digestive enzymes.
I was just going to say that one. Yeah, no, go for it. But yeah, totally can identify with that. But sorry to interrupt. Go for it.
No, and I will just keep it short. But digestive enzymes we don't produce like we used to produce years ago. And so people say, well, why do I have to take this, or why do I have to take that, or probiotic, or whatever it might be? Well, it's because you don't produce what you did 10 years ago. And so if you don't supplement, then that's when you run into challenges. I'm going to mute myself because I'm going into a noisy area here, Eric. I'll turn it back over to you.
Can I add something on to that? Hello, guys.
Yes, for sure, Hank. Absolutely, Hank.
Hi. Some of you may not know, but I've been going through some cataract surgery, get some cataracts out of my eyes and all that. And they kind of gave me a little sedative to kind of relax me before the doctor got in there and with the lasers and all. And I heard him say, the doctor told them how old I was, okay, the nurses. And they said, really? He said, yeah, really. He said, one of them said, so does he dye his hair? Because I'm not all gray, at that age, right? And, they brought back the working with Dr. Vicky a number of times, how she does hair analysis to see if we have right minerals in your system, and on and on and on. Well, I don't dye my hair. And I heard them and I said that. I don't dye my hair. They said, what? That's the nurses talking. I could hear them talking. So I was answering them. And so when it comes down to it, you think what we're talking about here, all the minerals in our nutritional supplements from farms that are well done properly, not herbicides and pesticides, okay? We're putting those minerals in our body, and our hair tells the story. It really does when you think about it. Just a thought, because I remember Dr. Vicky doing hair analysis on me at one time. So just want to share that.
The
Yeah.
other thing, tying in with what Hank was saying, is supplementation is one portion of it. Healthy habits is another that we teach in our program. So it's a whole package. It's hydration, exercise, supplementation, proper eating, balanced diet. All of those things come into play. It's a puzzle of life. And if you're missing a piece, it can really hurt the other because it's an unfinished picture. But, and again, age related, but if you can continue to make it as complete a puzzle as possible, you'll come out with the picture that you want.
So true. So true. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, just a quick comment on that digestive enzyme. And, for anybody over, and again, I was completely unaware of this, but, in many cases, as someone like you're saying, Carol, you get into that next decade of life or whatever, and, there's certain things that naturally evolve and change. Okay. And I wasn't aware of the digestive enzyme part. So this is, basically something that's going to help, with digestion. You naturally produce these enzymes that break down, fats and proteins and so forth. And oftentimes, as someone gets, quote unquote, well, just, older 40s and 50s, we'll just say, and beyond, oftentimes your body's production of this is reduced, right? There's a lot of things that change. I mean, let's just be real. If we live to be 130, that's not going to be the same body as it was when we were 12. I mean, that's just reality. We're not, we're obviously clear on that. So what are those progressions as we're going through? Well, 40s, 50s, it can be different, but those digestive enzymes can be, less effective, less quantity of them. And here's the result. And it comes on slow. That's the thing. And I didn't really kind of acknowledge this. I didn't know it, but you go through your day, you're eating your meals, and you just are bloated afterwards, right? You feel bloated and uncomfortable, right? That awful bloated, can be gassy type of a situation, but it's very uncomfortable lifestyle. And anybody that's been there, and it's not like it's just, one day you're one way and next day, boom, it changes. It would be nice if that would be the case, because then you would be aware of it. You'd be like, whoa, what just happened? I need to kind of look into this, but it doesn't. It's just a progressive, gradual thing. And one day you're just like, you're not even thinking about it anymore, but you're like, geez, this is uncomfortable, where every time you eat, you kind of feel that way. And fortunately, I was made aware of digestive enzyme, a product that I had not been taking. And I'm very fortunate. Marnie Fondren actually mentioned it to me, and not familiar with it, started taking it. The only thing I did improper is I thought it was one of those, take it for a couple of days and boom, everything takes care of it. Maybe some people that works that way. For me, she said, when I got back with her and said, I don't know that this is really working. And she said, well, give it 30 days, which I did. And it's been phenomenal. I mean, my digestion in that category is like a 20-year-old. I mean, I almost never feel bloated or anything like that. None of that uncomfortable feeling. You go over to, friends and company's house and have a dinner, and then you're sitting around bloated and your belt is tight. That's an awful feeling, to operate in. And just in that case, kind of a targeted product of a digestive enzyme, like you're saying, Carol, is really great. So I love it. Love it. Yeah. Hey, David, How you doing? I'm we're all teed up for you mentioned a
Come,
segment, a short
coming
so
back around.
yeah. I
Actually, it's often interesting how things happen on these Zoom walks, and that how things dovetail. And so the first, I got a couple of things that are not related, but they're related to past Zoom walks that we've had, and some thoughts that I've had. And one of them is a quote that ties directly in with what we're talking about how Eric talked about how things come on slowly and we don't notice it. This was a great quote that I recently heard. The body, like the mind, deteriorates over time when left unattended. Deterioration is the default state of existence. The difference between mature adults is often determined from choices made decades earlier. Did you treat your body like a tool to be sharpened every day? Or did you neglect it until it rusted? Movement, exercise, it's not a luxury, it's a necessity. And so that's bouncing off from what we got today. Continuing, I wasn't going to share this, but I have talked before about my granddaughter who has very picky. She had an eating disorder when she was born, and continues to be picky. And I ended up taking her to the doctors because she's had headaches, thyroid issues running our family. We want to make sure she doesn't have a thyroid issue. This doctor was great. So this doctor takes care of my wife, my daughter, and my granddaughter. And after we had shared, these were her suggestions for my granddaughter, 15, turning 16. You need to eat more, and you need to eat small meals. You need to have some snacks, a snack between your very small breakfast and your very bad lunch and dinner. She said you need to increase your water. You weigh 110, you need to get it up to 55 ounces a day. You sleep for 7 hours, try to get it up to 8. Sleeping disorders can cause headaches. So then she hits the danger zone. You need to decrease your caffeine and sugar. That causes headaches. And then the last one that we wanted us to check out was, what does she snore? But it was just interesting because basically what this doctor was telling her was that she needs to get on HealthPointe, which she often picks on her mother. She calls it the lettuce diet. So
I love it.
moving on from that, we've talked a number of times about walking. And last week we were complimenting Kathy, who is the queen of walking and has done 10,000 steps. So Kathy, are you on?
Yes, I'm here, David.
So where are you in your step journey?
2 years, 347 days
Woohoo!
today. We're almost at that
Congratulations,
3-year
Kathy.
mark, guys.
And so the importance of walking, and one of the things that her husband shared recently, in the almost 3 years that Kathy's been walking, that she has not been sick. Just an interesting thought. But and so one of the things that Kathy brought up in talking about walking last week that I did not hear mentioned, that I believe that you need in order to be a successful walker, is you do need to find a time in the day that you get a chunk. Am I correct, Kathy, that you get your chunk usually at lunchtime for like 20 minutes to 30?
Yes, you are correct. Usually I eat from 11 to 11:30 and I step it up from 11:30 to like 11:58 and then I walk back to my desk. So yes, I really do try to hammer out like that good half hour, and depending on my pace and if I bump into people in the hallway, I can get usually between 2,000 to 3,000 steps during that time period, which is a third of my goal.
And so we talked about many of the importances and things to help people with walking, but setting a time zone. Carol has an obnoxious goal of doing 5,000 steps. I can't remember if it's 5,000 steps before you wake up or is it 5,000 steps first thing in the morning. But
Actually, it's 5,000 steps, but it's usually I have a power walk sometime in the morning. No, I'm not one of those crazies that gets up and just 5,000 steps before breakfast. I do not do that because I have something that I do that is even higher precedence than that at that time. But I do it early in the, first part of the day, and then the rest of the day kind of just takes care of itself.
Correct. And I
Dave,
find
Dave, you're comical, man. I don't know if people caught what you just said. You just said, Carol, I'm not sure quite if you do it early in the morning, if you do 5,000 steps before breakfast, or if you 5,000 steps before you wake up, is what you said. And I was just like, oh, that's hilarious.
you got to remember, I'm not a morning person, so that's what it feels like to me. But anyways, so I don't know, 4 out of 7, 5 out of 7 days, I usually have a half-hour block that I go in my basement and try to knock off a chunk. And if you get a chunk in, you feel better psychologically that you've got this chunk in, and it definitely helps you to attain your goal. And recently, in one day, I had a doctor's appointment, and then after the doctor's appointment, it was late in the afternoon, evening actually. So I went and I ordered food. So I went to a restaurant and had pickup. Well, being in the doctor's office, I did about almost 400 steps waiting for the doctor to come. Once I was put in that little room, so I'm like in a little Mandela.
Yay, good for you. You were doing what I did all the time in the ER rooms.
And so I put about 400 steps in to there, and then I had another long waiting for my food. The restaurant was very busy. I just dropped in, ordered my food, and had to wait. And I put another 400 steps in just waiting for my restaurant food so I could pick it up and take it home. So part of it is also having this mindset of seeing those small opportunities and realizing, as Kathy says, doing your laundry and putting it on the couch and putting one piece away at a time. So you're walking from the couch to a bedroom, your couch to wherever. All those little steps add up over the day. And a comment that Carol made last week was that shoes are important. Now, I was having some foot problem, ankles, and because I was doing my walking in my house in slippers. And so when she said that, I think last week, I immediately got my shoes out, and the amazing difference that I feel walking, I think I increased my steps just by walking in better shoes also. Then 2 more things. The third one is just the chia seed pudding. I wanted to share that I've been sharing that with other people. It's okay with the vanilla. I think it's unbelievable with the chocolate protein powder, and that our family has really embraced that. It's a very I often tell people it isn't like it tastes like a great pudding, but it's very clean. It tastes good, and it's really, really good for you. It really fills you up for like an hour, hour and a half, for 2 hours, depending on how much protein how much you make. And even Genevieve, my granddaughter, will take like a spoonful. So like a tablespoon. Again, she doesn't eat much, but she'll take it isn't like she likes it, but she doesn't refuse it. So that's like a positive in my family. And then lastly, Eric, a phrase that you used a long time ago that I recently was used, and I think I'm getting some traction, and this is as far as growing my business, is I was with a nurse, and I said, I'm involved in the wellness business. I've something that might complement what you're already doing. And over time, it creates monthly reoccurring income. And so that opened the conversation. So that's my eclectic story, touching several things that we've talked about over the past month or so. Thank you.
I love it. Yeah, man. Geez, that was an awesome segment, David. I mean, right out of the gate, talking about, I love the metaphor of, are you treating your body like a tool? Are you treating your mind like a tool that, you sharpen every day? Geez, that was great.
Don't get rusty.
Don't get rusty. Yeah, don't get rusty and dull. Don't. Yeah. So, and then, of all these times that we talk about walking and stuff like that, the way you put it there, particularly with Kathy as an example, with getting chunks, getting that chunks. As soon as you said that, I said, you know what? He is so spot on. If you don't get that chunk in, but if you do get it in, you're kind of golden.
Touching on that, one more thing I forgot to share, and that is one I often tell people that I coach, that at night, if you get up to like whatever 1,700, man, before you go to bed, just walk around the house, knock off that 300 and go up from 6 to 7 or 7 to 8. You go to bed and you just go, yeah, I did it. It helps you mentally, and it also helps you have those extra physical steps.
I love it. I love it. I'm trying to think what came to my mind when, I'm thinking about these things, these elements, you're talking about. Number one, chunk your walks, chunk your steps. Number two, look for those small walking windows, those small walking opportunities, 400 steps in the waiting room, 300 steps, waiting for your carry out or whatever. And then, yeah, these are just phenomenal things. These little elements, and then on that last one, what came to my mind is, it's fairly common now if you're going through like a grocery store or something like that. You're paying for your product, your groceries, and they say, do you want to round up? You've got,
Yes.
$39.87. Would you like to round up and give it to this or whatever? I'm thinking that your third point there, so you got the chunks, you've got the walking windows, and then the third is don't go to bed without rounding up.
Yeah, round up to the next 500 or next 1,000.
Yeah. Those are all, these little strategies, 3 simple, doable, effective strategies that can help everyone. All of us can implement those 3 strategies. That was absolutely awesome. And then,
tying in with that, David brought out some really good points about the walking, and Kathy has always brought out excellent points on how many steps you can get in just in the process of living. But I'm thinking to myself, use the structure of your home to your benefit. Think about your home and think about how can you structure it so that you get extra steps. It makes me think back when we lived in Brighton and we had a lower level, pretty much the same as our main level. And so I was up and down all the time because Hank's office was in the lower level. So I was constantly doing steps. So then we moved to Florida and we have this split ranch. And so I don't get those steps in. And what a difference that made just in that form of movement. So if you have steps in your home, I don't know, maybe you got your laundry room in the basement level or whatever it might be. Think about where you place things and place them in situations where you have to go downstairs or upstairs to get things just in the natural process of your home. It makes me think of our home now is what we call a split ranch, a split floor plan. And so half of the home, usually the guest quarters and offices and stuff like that, are on the one side. Then the central is your gathering area. And then on the other side is usually your master area. Well, I seem to reside more in my master area because I have an office there and also just lots of things. I have a tendency to gravitate more to that area where Hank has his man cave, which is at the opposite end of the home. So again, upstairs, downstairs, one side, the other side. And it's so funny because we used to be able to yell at each other, thoughts that we had. And we found that over time, yelling at each other, and I don't mean yelling at each other, but yelling to each other, messages didn't work anymore. And so, well, we could text or we could get up and walk over to the person and talk to them. And so what that does is that increases, if you're just constantly doing that, it's amazing the number of steps just in communicating from one end of the house to the other by physically walking over there, telling your partner so you're not screaming at them from the other end of the home. And then back again. And so just sometimes using the structure of your home can build in so many more steps that, in addition to the bulk. And so, yeah. And the other thing, many times you'll hear not only steps is helpful, but weight bearing exercises is extremely helpful. You know me, I'm a big bone person. I mean, I'm not a big bone person. I'm a big person on building your bones. And weight bearing, which is walking and lifting and what have you, is very, very helpful. And again, just the same as you do with your walking, you can do with weight bearing. And if you're in business with us and you have a love for perfect water along with your eSpring, we get tons of perfect water. And our guy places it on our front porch. So we have to take, yesterday I had a massive order come in. And I had to take 5 cases of this perfect water. And Hank says, you want to use the, you know, the mover thing, the whatever you call it.
Dolly.
Yeah. If you want to take that, I says, absolutely not. It's gonna work to my benefit. So I took each one of those 5 cases, picked it up. Well, first of all, that strengthens your core, unbelievable. You can just feel that strength throughout your whole back, your front, your sides. That's tremendous core training. Then you walk it into the garage, which is around the other side up from the front porch. You do that 5 times, and then I don't know how many cases of excess. We've got company coming. And so I just really stocked up. So we have all these cases of excess. So we had all of that. So each time we took a couple of cases of excess. Then we took liquid protein shakes. It took me probably about a half hour of probably the best weight bearing exercises you could get. You can go to any gym and pay a fee, or you can just place a big order for some of that stuff and have them place it at the other end of your home. It's amazing. It's a workout in itself. So anyway, this is getting real now. This is real life stuff.
Oh, that is so, I love the win-win, right? We can get our weight-bearing exercise and drive volume in our e-commerce businesses. And it made me think too, you know, how on your order in your dashboard, either for yourself or for clients, you can put kind of an instruction set in the address line, right? Where, you know, you can say, and I'm thinking through mine because mine right now says place inside garage. Right. So you can get those openers, like where delivery people can have, you know, a unique code and they can open your garage door and put it in there. You're making me think here, Carol. I'm wondering, you know, I just brought in a big box, I think yesterday or the day before. I'm wondering if I should say in the instructions on the labeling on every package, place this a quarter mile down the street.
Or in the back of the house or whatever.
Oh, I love it. See, this is full of ideas. So no, that's so great, so powerful, that weight bearing movement for bone health and overall health and wellness. Such a great
Building
lesson
muscle.
there.
Building muscles.
Yes.
I read an article just this morning and I wasn't prepared enough to present any of it because there's hidden articles within it, but it's all about how important your bones and your muscles are to your brain. And I thought, wow, you know, I mean, we're all really, really conscious of keeping our brain sharp, but who thinks about building your muscles and your bones to feed your brain? But it does.
Yeah, all interconnected. Wonderful.
Again, Dr. Stu Min talked about carrying gallons of water. And so when I walk in the basement, I have 2 gallons of water. I don't walk with it all the time. I use it to up my heart rate. I try to keep my heart rate 85 to 90. And so if it drops, I'll carry water for a while, and that definitely brings it up.
Great.
That was
Yeah.
Dr. Stu Min.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy's brilliant, and what a HealthPointe advocate he is. You know, I know Carol, you and Hank have been able to have him on, you know, some programs once in a while, but yeah, all of these you know, these tips and tricks, you know, that are coming out, it's all pointing out, as we all know, but it's just kind of revealing and refreshing it with some fun new ideas and techniques and stuff, is that this is all very sustainable, right? This is all very easy. We're not talking the need to get a special gym membership or spend a fortune on anything. We're talking carrying in your own products from your driveway. We're talking about some gallon jugs in your basement. We're talking about, getting 400 steps while you're waiting for your takeout food. I mean, this is very integrated in day-to-day life, whether you're at home, whether you're traveling, very sustainable. That's, and we all know that, but these are just some fun, new, fresh insights. And this is so fun.
Sometimes we have to be more proactive in today's times too, because everything is so knee jerk and everything is so remote control and, instant and what have you. It makes me think back on my very early days, our very early days in starting our business, and how so many of our products back then were really, really heavy. And we didn't have direct ship and all that kind of stuff. So we used to have to get that stuff in the driveway, lug it down the stairs, put it on the shelves, lug it back up with people. I mean, that was back way decades ago, but I mean, it was built in then. Now we have to build it in. We have to think about what can we do, to get more steps, get more weight bearing. And it's workable. It's all workable.
Yeah, no, that brings home a good point. I think, if you're talking in the context of decades ago in this business and how you found yourself, just the lifestyle, the nature of things at that time, inherently created more strength and conditioning and movement. And one of the things with, modern conveniences, we can all look, we don't have to get up out of the chair to turn the channel on the TV, right? That is another thing from decades ago, right? Now there's a remote, but that means less movement. I mean, it seems silly, but that getting up out of a chair, if we were to use that, we no longer have to, go outside. And for those of us in the north that need to heat our homes, we don't have to go out and chop the wood and stack the wood. I know, we used to do that. I mean, I'm not ancient, and I can remember, my parents saying, hey, the good news is we had a combination wood burning and fuel oil furnace in our home, and my dad still lives there. And the furnace has been swapped out, but when my brothers and I would complain about having to do all this woodwork, he would say, the nice thing about this is that when you heat the home with wood, you get warm several times. Once when we go chop it, once when you stack it, and then when you unstack it, we had to, put it down a chute that in the garage, there's a chute that would go down, and there'd be one of us down in the basement, and these split pieces of wood would come down the chute. You had to, make sure it didn't catch you in the knee or something like that, or hit your toe. And then you'd have to stack it in the basement. And then, that just got it into the house. And now you have to, in the morning, start the fire in the furnace. And guys, this was not like 1910. This was like, in the 80s and 90s. So, but now, the amount of effort that it takes, Emily and I to warm our home is, I was going to say to go to the thermostat on the wall, but you know what? We don't even have to do that. We just hit an app on our phone.
Oh,
we're coming in on a flight, and we can hit an app on our phone so that when we get home, the home is back up to temperature. So, all of these modern conveniences, they're great. I don't want them to go away, but it does point out that if we aren't deliberate on finding these other choices, like moving our products in from the driveway, the cases of excess energy drinks and the cases of perfect water, or doing the things that David and Kathy are talking about in terms of getting these steps in, we can find ourselves very depleted on the movement and exercise front for sure. Yeah.
Now we know why you're so tough.
Right. Yes. Those were the days, right? Actually, it wasn't too bad. There's, both there and also at my grandparents up in northern Michigan. But I'll make this note on that type of lifestyle. My grandpa lived to be 102.
Ah,
And yeah, and like, you know, we talk about health span over lifespan.
yeah.
Now realize, you know, this is, you know, had his own garden. You know, my grandma and grandpa, you know, caught a lot of fish, did fishing, you know, hunted wild game. You know, he worked in the Detroit area, but had a place up north and then retired, actually retired early. And as my dad sometimes says, you know, with my grandparents, they kind of just shifted it into overdrive and just had that low hum for many decades, you know. And but you know, they're eating good quality, nutrient dense, you know, macronutrients, heating the home with wood. And you know, at the times where he couldn't rally us grandkids to cut and stack the wood, but I remember a lot of times, you know, getting the pickup truck and going out to the woods, you know, cutting down the wood, stacking it. And you know, so all of that stuff he did, you know, for many years. And talking about, again, health span versus lifespan, when he turned 100, which is obviously a pretty, you know, you throw a party on that. We rented a hall up in Rogers City, Michigan, and invited you know, friends and family and so forth. And there was a like a waltz type of a band, okay, you know, doing like polkas and waltzes and stuff. And my grandpa's out there now. My grandma had passed away, but my grandpa's out there accepting dance after dance after dance from the ladies that are coming out wanting to dance with him. And he's 100 years old, and you know, with this beautiful music and friends and family, he's you know, dancing these, you know, waltzes out there. And you know, at 100 years old. So there's something to be said for sure for you know, living a lifestyle where we're implementing this movement, this good nutrition, and those types of elements for sure.
Living a lifestyle where your grandfather and your father and you and in our community, where we continue to every day strive to sharpen our axe and not let it
Yes,
get rusted.
Yeah.
for sure. For sure, yeah. Metaphorically and literally in the sense of chopping wood. So, absolutely. Well, we are coming up roughly on our wrap here. Any other thoughts, comments, ideas? Anybody else? We've got a number of people in here. If you have anything, feel free to unmute and say hello, or anything else from anybody.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? I'm out walking, so I hope I'm coming.
Oh, you were coming through just as you said. I hope I'm coming through okay. That's Erica. Are you still there, Erica? Oh, we lost you. We lost you, but you got it enough in to hear that you're out walking. So that's awesome. It looks like you might have come back on there a minute.
All right, guys, we'll try it one more time. If not this time, then I'll chime in next week.
Yeah, we
Can
can
you
hear
hear
you
me?
now. Yep.
Perfect. I'm gonna stop walking. So David, you mentioned something about I think it was your granddaughter about the lettuce, and you know how much you know, salad that we happen to eat for, you know, all of its good purposes for hydration and fiber and nutrients. But one thing that I mentioned to my clients, I had several of them that thought they had to eat, for whatever reason, just romaine lettuce. And they were getting so sick of romaine lettuce. So I reminded them, you know, it could be any type of lettuce. So there's so many good like arugula salads with like chopped strawberries, or baby kale salads, or the regular thicker kale salads. The other day I actually got from Trader Joe's, it was like a broccoli and Brussels sprout and cabbage slaw. And it didn't have any dressing on it, but it was just shaved pieces of all of those veggies, and I use that as my salad. And so kind of being creative with the different types of lettuces and the different types of combinations that you can put on them is a great way to kind of keep it exciting and fun.
Oh, that's such a great input. And I know what you're saying, Erica. And thanks again so much for chiming in. I know your cell signal wasn't great, and appreciate you stopping on your walking and chiming in on that. I don't know, probably others in this group that are coaching and so forth have run into that as well. There's something, I think it could be in the manual itself, where maybe it's making a suggestion of romaine lettuce, but pretty common thing that occurs is someone gets super bored because they're anything that you're eating day after day after day, and it never varies at all, especially at the foundational level on that. Maybe they're varying their proteins that they add, maybe the other vegetables, maybe their fruit, but if it's always that same romaine lettuce, great suggestion, great to point that out and have these other suggestions. One that and there's seasonal things too, right? That come and go. There's in past couple of weeks, there's this, I think it's actually a mustard green, which maybe this is, some people would like this, some people would not, but I've been getting this when Emily and I go do our weekly shopping. They've got this really great section with all the different greens, and they have this mustard green. It's kind of a lighter green leaf, kind of a real tall stalk. You just buy it loose like that, but it's got a bit of like a mustardy pop to it, kind of like an arugula. Erica, you had mentioned arugula, kind of like that. But yeah, guys, there's other choices out there for your lettuces, we'll say, your greens in there for sure. So thank you, Erica, for that.
I want to mention something. Eileen Bradley, many of you know her. When she was about a third of the way through the program, she said, "Oh, I cannot eat another leaf of romaine lettuce." She said, "That's the only lettuce you can eat." And I said, "Well, where did you get that idea?" She said, "Well, it's on the food list, romaine lettuce." So she thought that was the only lettuce she could eat. So check with your new clients and remind them that they can eat a multitude. And I know many people are very busy. So to make salads, some of them do it Sundays afternoon for the week, but you can also get these plastic claws. Now, I'm not a big plastic lover, but you can get Organic Girl. You can get also some that are not organic. They're less expensive, but there's all different kinds of mixtures. There's red lettuce, light leafy lettuce, red, green, and different things. And then, like you were saying, Eric, there's lots of different kinds of mixtures that you can do, and you can get them organic or non-organic. The organic ones, they're triple rinsed. You just take them out, and put them in your salad, so you don't even have to do anything to them. So sometimes quick and easy, it can save you a lot of time to get into the habit of eating those salads.
That's so true. Yeah. Again, it's really, it does take, deliberate action and guidance and education. But at the end of the day, for most people in most communities, the choices are there for the picking. A quick note, because this is something that I recently learned. I'll just hit on this real quick because it's on topic, and that is on spinach and oxalates. Okay, so if this is new to anybody, maybe take note of this for yourself or people that in your organization, in your client base, and so forth. I used to use primarily spinach. Okay, maybe some spinach and arugula, but a lot of spinach, right? I don't know if I had a Popeye thing going on or what, but I think it was just available, and it stayed well and everything else like that. But anyhow, here's the cautionary note, is that spinach is one of the highest products that you can consume that contains what's called oxalates. Now, what's the effect of this? Oxalates, well, they can kind of have two things. One can be some development towards kidney stones, and the other thing can be just a an achiness, a soreness in the joints, like knees, elbows, and stuff like that. Wasn't on my radar at all. Just happy-go-lucky, eating my spinach, week after week, month after month. And again, kind of like the digestive enzyme thing, I started noticing, man, I'm kind of doing my normal thing with workouts and stretching and everything, but the knees are just feeling a little bit. And I got a little bit of a meniscus thing going on, so I just kind of like out of sight, out of mind on that. Got some insight from somebody that in a physician network that I'm part of, that oxalates are likely the cause. So now here's the thing. Can you eat spinach? Absolutely. But do you want to have that be your core base for your salad day after day after day? No. And just to kind of linger on this a little bit, there was another food product that I was eating. And if you look at like what food products have the highest density of oxalates in it, like number one is spinach. Number two, and it's a distant second, but number two is almonds. And I was eating a lot of like almond butter instead of peanut butter. I was eating almond butter. It was very tasty. And so I was consuming, two of the highest forms of oxalates. And so easy fix, just, diversified things, got into more arugula, getting into some romaine lettuce, ironically, given this topic, and also some of the mustard and other things. It's easy to mix it up. Just reduce that spinach down to the factor that it should be. And in my case, in about 2 weeks, that level of soreness that was occurring in my knees in particular, gone. So for anybody that wasn't aware of that, like I wasn't, there's a little insight on that. There's plenty of choices out there. And you don't have to swing the pendulum the other way fully and do nothing but romaine over and over and over, despite it having it in the manual as a food product. So great stuff,
Balance
guys.
and variety.
Yes, balance and variety. Absolutely. It is, shines through again and again as a great strategy, balance and variety.
Hey, Eric, can I share briefly?
Yes, you sure can. We've got Carolyn here. Carolyn, go for it.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, so I'm not out walking the marathon.
And Carolyn, can you get a little bit closer to the microphone? We're a little hard hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So I was just saying that I'm not out walking the marathon. I'm hoping to, but I just wanted to hear a little quick line. The light bulb went up and what is the stuff? And that is the most evidence. And I love those mustard greens. They're spicy, they're delicious. And there are farmers that are selling their arugula and their spinach. And so when I go to the farmer's market, Houston market, where local market, I'm walking. So I'm getting my steps in. I'm eating but
Hey, Carolyn, I think, and I'm probably not alone on this. I think I heard a good amount of what you're saying. Let me see if I summarize it, if it's pretty spot on. You were talking about, I think it was a context of maybe like a farmer's market or places where you can go. They have a variety of choices out there in terms of the greens. You're getting your steps in at that. You talked about mustard greens as well being available. Am I kind of hitting on the high notes? I'm sorry, we could barely hear you. Okay, we got the thumbs up. All right, we got the thumbs up from Carolyn. Carolyn, thank you so much for contributing. And sorry, we had a little bit of an issue going with the audio, but it's very valuable, and we want to hear more from you and others on these little tips and tricks. So, guys, this has been another fun, rambunctious episode. I'll get this up to our Voices of HealthPointe YouTube channel. Again, if you're You know, and you can, sometimes it's good just to get a repetition on the episode. You can just go to Voices of HealthPointe on YouTube and look at this episode and past episodes. But guys, the hour is up, and until next time, next Saturday, same time, same place, we'll say bye-bye.
Adios. Make it a great weekend and a great week.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Bye,
Have a great
everybody.
weekend.